I was 7 years old when this happened. I was living with my parents and a younger sister out in the desert area of Oman, a country in the Middle East. When we first moved here, the house looked deserted and neglected, as if no one had lived here for a long time. The day we moved into the house, there was an eerie feeling that someone was always watching us. Even though my room was next to the parents' room, just a cardboard door separating the big room into two, I always made a big fuss about going to bed alone. I always clung to my mother every time she came to put me to bed. I was not particularly eager to sleep alone in that room. I used to beg her every night to sleep beside me. To me, it was not fair that my sister got to sleep safely in a crib right next to my mother, and I had to sleep all by myself in this creepy room. As the weeks passed into months, things started getting creepier for me and my family. In the beginning, it was just a feeling of being watched all the time. Then it got into an overwhelming sensation of someone brushing their hands all over me as he or she was caressing me out of compassion. I dared not to open my eyes. I just laid back on my bed like a corpse, thinking that it would go away if I didn't move. Some nights, in fear, I used to wet my bed. I remember asking my mom almost every morning, "Ma, were you in my room last night stroking me to sleep?" But as usual, she said no. I can assure you that her reply wasn't comforting, but it raised my fears even more. This got even scarier when one day I dared to open my eyes to confront my mother, thinking that I had caught her red-handed. What I saw was an unrealistic and creepiest moment I had ever witnessed. It was a lady figure clothed with a hijab. The bottom half of her face was covered with a veil, and her eyes were red from constantly crying in pain or sorrow. She was as close as a couple of inches off of my face. That's how I could see her eyes. At first, I was frozen by her face being so close to mine. But as time passed, I was not scared anymore. I could feel a sense of love and compassion. She had a very loving and compassionate presence that I wasn't scared of anymore. I didn't tell anybody about this experience because no one would believe me, and I would be ridiculed too.